The JJ McCarthy experiment in Minnesota has turned into a full-blown disaster, and Vikings fans are feeling every painful second of it. Through just 5 games, he struggled in every conceivable way to elevate a roster loaded with talent, and the results have been brutal. So bad, there are already questions if he'll even be starting next season. He's got a lot of problems on film, is flawed in many ways, so to summarize his issues, I've distilled them down into just 3 separate categories. He's struggled with anticipating open windows, his mechanics are bad, and too often he's staring down his receivers. For the first one, poor anticipation, he's struggled against zone coverage because he's waiting to see windows open before throwing it. Then, those windows close. This especially happens when defenses are able to disguise their coverages to confuse him, where it just takes him an extra tick longer to process what's happening, which makes him too late on the throw. Here the Ravens are showing this cover zero disguise, meaning they're initially putting everybody on the line to try to create tons of pressure on JJ, would just be one-on-one with no deep safety, but then they drop everybody out in coverage, just rush 4 with this 3-deep cover 3 zone, but the Vikings have the perfect play. 2 corner routes to the sideline to vertically stretch out the cover 3 zone defender, but here's the issue. JJ waits a little too long to throw, trying to figure out if the deep third defender is going to go up top or stay shallow, and same with the curl flat defender. So by the time he sees Justin Jefferson open, instead of anticipating him open right here, there's just not enough real estate on the football field unless you throw this way back shoulder and the pass flies out of bounds. Because JJ struggles to anticipate, it makes him late on throws, and that's why his accuracy suffers. His mechanics too, because he knows the ball needs to come out ASAP Rocky because he's so late on the throw that he speeds everything up and it leads to late, high throws over the receiver's head. This is a fantastic design by Kevin O'Connell, not sure what he calls it, but in Kyle Shanahan's playbook, this is a jerk-off concept. Shanahan is obviously a man of the finest culture, where the wide receiver gets isolated in the linebacker in zone. Here Jordan Addison pretends to go underneath to get Roquan Smith to bite up, then Addison turns this into a seam. But because every team runs this route, this concept, every team has jerk-off in their playbook, the Vikings alter the concept to a jerk-off out route. There is a pocket of space open here, but JJ has to throw this before Addison comes open. Anticipate this open space, but he waits to see him come open, then throws it. He waits so long in the pocket, you can see him hitch and hitch and hitch, that while Donovan Jackson does provide good protection, at a certain point, late in the down, he just can't hold up long enough. Not his fault, so JJ is inviting unnecessary pressure. There are certain spots on the field where concepts are supposed to hit, so when JJ waits forever for him to come open, rather than throwing before they come open, those spots close up and he runs out of room. This is a Yankee concept, a post route to take away the one high safety with a crosser underneath, where JJ throws this way too late. It's supposed to come out before Jettis gets out of his break. With the cornerback outside leverage, McCarthy has to know that Jettis has the leverage advantage, and so he can throw with anticipation. But look it out, because he throws it late, Kevin Byard can sink into the window and makes a play on the ball. Anytime you hold the ball longer than you need to in the NFL, it's usually gonna be a problem. Concepts are supposed to be thrown at a specific point in the down. Football is a choreographed dance, but again, they have this Yankee type concept where here it's an out and up. Really, this is assuming the safety is going to dive on the crosser now from Jettis, since he's already seen this concept. Should leave the double move wide open, but JJ isn't reading the body positioning, the drive, the intention from Tyreek Stevenson. He's waiting till he sees Addison open, so by the time he does, it's too late, the protection breaks down, and the ball should have been intercepted. Waiting too long late into the down is a common issue for the Vikings' second-year quarterback, because as I said, later in the down, he has to speed up to get the ball out in time, which affects his mechanics. Kevin O'Connell himself came out and said that McCarthy's body posture at the top of his drop is bad, mostly because his base gets too wide, which makes it harder for JJ to create consistency, which leads to accuracy inconsistency. It's been well documented that he struggles throwing to his left, and watch how his body posture changes when he overstrides. Here he's at a good positioning in terms of his base, he's in a good athletic posture, but then instead of an easy, comfortable delivery, the moment he sees Jettis open, he quickly speeds up to get the ball out when he sees his receiver open, which leads to this insanely wide base, longer motion. Instead of the ball coming out here like it typically would in a normal smooth delivery, it comes out quicker down here. The overstride locks out the front of your body, impeding the continuity of your rotation. So because there's no more mobility at the front of his delivery, it affects the back end of his delivery and the ball sails and is inaccurate. This goes back to his lack of anticipation. JJ is waiting to see Jettis come open, not anticipating him beating this man coverage. So the moment he finally sees Jettis free, he's already late, so he has to rush, and it compounds his problems. He struggles moving in the pocket too. There are times where he needs to make little movements in the pocket, but they turn into big movements, which affects, once again, his mechanics and the play. This is a catchable ball, don't get me wrong, but watch how JJ has this stick nod route, which attacks the seam against cover 2 zone, where Addison comes wide open in the void of the defense. With anticipation and understanding the coverage, JJ would throw this through the middle of the defense. But watch how instead of smoothly pushing up in the pocket, he starts running. Addison should catch this, big facts, catch the ball. But waiting later in the down invites the coverage closer to Addison, so he has to worry a bit more about getting smashed by the safety off the other hash. He gets contacted by the near safety too. The longer you wait in the down, the later you are on a throw, the less likely it is to be completed. The last area that JJ struggles with, staring down receivers, also bleeds into our first category, anticipation. Because he has to wait to see somebody open instead of anticipating him open, he's forced to stare at his receivers, which helps the defense jump in front of his passes. Here's this wrap-in dig route that's supposed to come in free behind Roquan Smith. To Roquan, this route could really go anywhere once it's behind him, deep across, seam route, corner. Roquan is in spot drop zone, meaning he's getting to his landmark, then reading JJ's eyes. When he does get to his landmark, he flips back and sees JJ staring at where he's gonna throw, waiting for this space to come open. This helps Roquan get a great break on the ball because he sees JJ waiting, staring over the middle, so Roquan jumps on the pass and intercepts it. JJ's film is pretty bad. There is not a lot of hope, but at the same time, there is more than zero. I'd say he's high ceiling, very, very low floor. His high ceiling plays when his mechanics are good and everything looks right is high, because he has made some big time throws. The Vikings receivers have a 15.71 drop percentage with him, that is highest in the NFL. I think part of it is he often isn't throwing with the right timing or pacing, but especially in his last few games without any drops, the results would look at least a little different. For example, check out this Dino concept where the Ravens are showing man coverage on Jettis, but drop into cover 6 zone quarter half. A Dino concept is essentially a corner post. Watch Jettis push to the corner to widen out the safety up top, then break back across his face. It requires JJ to hold the ball, something he's good at. He can get away with staring down his guy, since the third level safeties aren't usually really going to be staring at him in the same way Roquan was on our previous example. And when everything is right and he can throw a line drive, he can look awesome, but it's dropped. Even here you can see his pocket management still isn't great. He unnecessarily bumps into his guard because he overstrides instead of little subtle movements. But if a couple more of these balls are caught, the conversation around him looks, as I said, at least a little different. JJ McCarthy's first quote-unquote full season has been a disaster. After just 5 NFL starts, the bust word is getting thrown around all over the place, and while the Vikings roster looked loaded coming into 2025, they were 14-3 last year. JJ's been so bad, it feels like he's legitimately changed the entire organization for the worse. He's consistently struggled with anticipating open windows. If you can't do this in the NFL, you're not going to last for long. His mechanics have been all over the place. He strides too wide, he has poor posture at the top of his drop, his pocket management is wildly inconsistent, and then on top of all of this, he stares down receivers, which leads zone defenders right to the ball. His career path feels like it's spiraling wildly downwards, and his rookie-ish season has gone about as bad as it possibly could. There are a couple of good throws and positives sprinkled in here and there, so who knows, crazier things have happened. JJ McCarthy has struggled mightily, but maybe, just maybe, since he has one of the league's best coaches, one of the best supporting casts in football, he can take these positive plays and turn his career around.